Okay. And we also have a special guest back visiting for July 4th holidays. Finn and Laura are here. Give them a welcome.
Hey.
Finn also brought in some roses. Are these from your mom's garden?
Those grow at my mom's house, but I was the one planting them.
Okay, great story. And this morning, I've never seen this before, the peace flag was actually blowing. An east wind came in the open door, and the flag was fluttered on the back wall. It's a nice touch. It's beginning our July 4th weekend. This is last Sunday of June, and through all this week, celebrations going on in the town. I'd like to invite Finn to say a few words of greeting this morning. It's good to have him back. Again, give him a little round of applause.
Thanks, Dave. So, just wanted to be able to be a part of the service. Just wanted to be able to be a part of the service this morning, but it's somehow I'm loud enough. I don't need the microphone. But no, this is a weekend. It's really, I think, important to just church.
Oh. Sitting in front of me.
Oh.
Go ahead.
This is like this 4th of July weekend. I always thought was the biggest holiday weekend this town had. All right. 4th of July weekend is always the biggest holiday this town has, and I'm feeling that from the side of being a son of Holton who's drove or flown or somehow made their way back home for 4th of July weekend. Because you go away, you start having a life and a family outside of this town. But it's just so good to be able to come back and see everybody. And you can't get to do that at Christmas or Thanksgiving because hardly anybody travels. But this is a town that comes alive on the 4th of July weekend, the Midnight Madness, and everybody coming home. And I just want to say how happy I feel coming home for the 4th of July. Like, I know there are so many people in this town that are feeling that same feeling I'm feeling today. So thank you for having me. And for everybody watching online, welcome home.
So for opening words this morning, for our moment of centering silence, let us experience the present moment, like Yo-Yo Ma says, like yesterday, yet slightly different. Let's try it out as we listen to the sound of the singing bowl. Mary Alice had 2 of these magic wands last week, and she left one behind. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but we're going to go ahead and use it this morning as a follow-up on the moment of centering silence with one more sounding of the chime with the magic wand. may not get that back to her. Marty, would you light our chalice for us this morning, please? So today we are wrapping up our year-long theme on EarthCare. So for the Chalice Lighting this morning, it ties in to the EarthCare wrap-up today. We light the chalice today for the healing of the earth, for caretaking the earth, and for the enjoyment of the earth each day we walk upon it. A wonderment it is. Each moment. So as I was saying, this is our part 10 of the EarthCare service, running into summer just a little bit. With the eclipse activity, then we fit in one extra lecture by Dr. Mark Horvath in the spring. So it took us into our summer recess break. Almost feels like school is out, like Yo-Yo Ma was saying on the homework. So what I'd like to use for prayer this morning is something we used earlier as an EarthCare worker motto, or a pledge or a prayer. And this was written by Hazel Henderson, a British-American economist, futurist, and author. She wrote Building a Win-Win World and Global Citizenship. And this was her prayer that we've kind of adopted as his EarthCare worker motto. Each day I recommit myself to the almighty power of universal love and the evolutionary life force of which I am a small part. I will always be guided by this source of my eternal being and will walk in faith and hope for life on this earth, and always seek those who share this moment as my companions in love and light. I balance my energy and joy and in serving my highest purpose, my universal self. We're going to sing number 100. I've got Peace Like a River. And you'll notice there are 6 verses in all, 5 and 6 in the small font. So, we're going to do all 6. Shall we stand as you are able? I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. our group reading for us this morning. Number 465, found in the back of our book. This is written by Wendell, and it's a vision for the world and for healing, and thought that it tied in well as we wrap up our EarthCare series today.
So I'm going to read the whole way through. People will join me for the italics. The wisdom to survive. If we will have the wisdom to survive, to stand like slow growing trees on a ruined place, renewing each year. If we will make our seasons welcome here, asking not too much of the earth or heaven, when a long time after we are dead, our lives are Sorry, did practice enough for this. Their houses strongly placed upon the valley sides, fields and gardens rich with windows, the river will run clear, as we will never know it. And over it songbirds like a canopy, on the levels of the hills, weeping meadows, scarlet dells, new shade. On the steeps where greed and ignorance cut down the old forest, and the old forest will stand, its rich leaf all drifting on its roots. The veins of forgotten springs will have opened, families will be singing in the fields. In their voices they will hear the music risen out of the ground. They will take nothing from the ground, they will not return. Whatever the grief at parting, memory negative will spread over it, will grow in memory, will grow into legend. Legend is song, song is sacrament. The abundance of this place, the songs of its people and its birds will be health and wisdom and enlightening light. This is no paradise dream. Its hardship is possibility.
So for our offering this morning, just queuing this up for you guys. Hang on. Okay, so this is a song by Playing for Change. Recognize Jack Johnson and John Cruz. They're in it's a Hawaii setting with the Mana Mele Collective and along with 6 charter schools of students in Hawaii. They're singing kind of background on this song. Titled Little Bit of Love. So it's a song for the world, for the planet, and for our offertory this morning.
One Mama, little bit of love. Scene 2, handheld, take 3.
Feel open out this morning. Let us give a perfect blessing. I was thinking of La Hua this morning as I was playing Jody. Okay. So this is part 10, a wrap-up of EarthCare series for our theme, which started way back in September. And usually we wrap up by flower communion. And this year we're going a little bit extra, but we're going to wrap it up quickly. We're going to just kind of do some summary points, look at where we've been during the year, and we'll be out of here well before 11. Okay. So I've got an introductory reading I'd like to do by Martin Boundry, who is an author and philosopher of science at Ghent University in Belgium. And it's on this dynamic between pessimism and optimism. The title of this is We Need More Idiots. Pessimism confers one final, unmistakable advantage. It makes people sound smarter. As Hannah Ritchie admits in her latest book, Not the End of the World, I often feel embarrassed to admit that I'm an optimist. I imagine it knocks me down a peg or two in people's estimations. As a German historian and inveterate pessimist, Philip Blom once quipped, only idiots are optimists today. If you claim that the future will be better than the past, that although new problems will arise, we will find fresh solutions to them, just as we always have, you might seem to be taking a leap of faith because you're placing trust in things that have not been invented yet. By comparison, if you very soberly, wisely, prudently stick to the known and proven, you will necessarily be pessimistic. If you claim that humanity is teetering on the verge of collapse, you will sound like someone who dares to face the frightening truth, while everyone else is too afraid or too stupid to see it. But it's important that people take a rational, intentional leap of optimistic faith, because progress is not inevitable. It is not a law of nature. If we want to make the future even better than the present, we will need people who believe that progress is both possible and desirable, and are therefore willing to work towards it, even if they risk coming across as total idiots. Maria Popova said, critical thinking without hope is cynicism. Hope without critical thinking is naivete. So on the front of today's bulletin, I found a Bill McKibben quote that is kind of traversing these two tensions between being optimistic, even in pessimistic data and times. And Bill says, let's be for a while true optimists and operate on the assumption that human beings are not grossly defective. Let's assume we're capable of acting together to do remarkable things. Each generation is oftentimes defined by an issue or a challenge distinct to its times that cannot be avoided or denied, that must be addressed, and if not resolved, at least an attempt made at its resolution for the benefit of that current generation and the generations to come. It appears that ours is climate change. How successful we are, or how focused we are on the issue, remains to be seen. Time is not always on our side, but what we do know is there is no time to waste. So in the bulletin, I just picked out a couple of things from our study this year to help frame our talk and our study this year. on this topic of EarthCare. And we came up with these 4 basic categories that a lot of our talks have been one of those points as we explore and navigate issues connected to climate change or extreme weather and the implications for our planet and our economy in each one of us. So those categories were science and technology, ethics and moral case, philosophy and spiritual psychology, and then action and application. And we came up with a 2-part strategy that really used these four pieces on trying to maintain optimistic hope and effectiveness to work towards change, sustainability, or corrective balancing. And those 2 basic points were, 1, getting as many facts and data and information as possible on this range of topics. And this would be under category 1, gathering that data. And it always helps to have a scientist in the room, or someone who knows what they're talking about, based on life experience directly, or just having the data on new technologies, numbers, statistics that are reliable, source information. And then that leads to part 2 of the analysis, or the perspective, to develop a perspective which includes ethics, morals, or the ancients or religious tradition would call that wisdom, from your political, religious, and community leaders, providing this perspective or framework to tackle the issues. So we came up with the term EarthCare, or also Earth Vision, as a way of looking back at our past, that led us to this point, looking forward to where we're heading, what adjustments do we need to be made. And this EarthCare, Earth Vision, is essentially developing a new mindset, unitive-based, a new way of thinking, using equality terms, becoming a global citizen, working towards a global community of one humanity, one nature system on one planet. You got a feel for, as like in this video, of seeing the next generation, learning how to garden, learning about the planet, caring for the planet, wildlife, nature. And we're really building on last year's theme on belongingness, develop a community starting out here, and in the town of Fulton, state of Maine, country identity, global identity, and this belongingness was really a combination of taking these ideas of our connectedness, responsibilities, and our vision of living together on this, in our communities, on this planet, and during the eclipse, it also expanded to this cosmic vision, implications of where we are situated in our solar system, in this galaxy, in the cosmos. So you'll see a little image on today's bulletin, a simple model of the solar system. And interestingly enough, you'll notice it does include Pluto. And I'll leave that up to your opinion. You think that should be included. Solar system or not. But Pluto is certainly included when you look at this vision of inclusion of its place in it. So the start that we made this year in these 10 sessions is just a beginning. I really see this as continuing education, just incremental steps of learning, sharing our experience, a little bit like yesterday, but again, it's going to be different today. And again, growing and building upon that incrementally tomorrow and the days and years after. So I see the headlines are going to continue to be there every day. There's more data, more stories to piece together what are the implications of where we're heading. So today, coming up with just a few summary points of what we've come up with thus far. And again, there's so much farther to go. The planet will continue to heat up as long as we continue to burn fossil fuels. Conversion to renewables, sooner the better. When Mark Horvath was here a couple of weeks ago on his lecture, The Oil-Free Future, really looking at go electric, using new technologies. And it's the economics that are always going to drive political systems and change in the application of those numbers, dollars. My father used to always say, the wallet is what's going to change a person's behavior or consumption the quickest. And we're dealing with a delicate eco-balance in this process. So on the altar, I brought in a stretch-out sand that we used on this balancing act earlier with the kids, looking at issues, trying to balance on this delicate planet that we have. So Sam is here, and there's love in the balancing act. As kind of an image metaphor to remember for some of the topics we touched on this year. In developing EarthCare sensibilities and Earth vision, what we come away with is this sense of personal connectedness or investment in the planet, but also a deeply embedded sense of how fragile and delicately balanced this small eco ball is that we're living on, this floating in space. Be careful, don't do anything to mess it up. We only have one of these, don't break it. So here are 4 summary points. There's not going to be any test on this, and we'll keep adding new points to this. But essentially, the categories are, number 1, creative solutions are needed. 2, new technologies. What are the new technologies, the breakthroughs that are going to speed up and accelerate dropping CO2 levels and helping to balance the equation? 3, maintain positive outlook. And number 4, get involved. Asking the big question, what can I do individually? But also, more importantly, what can I do collectively? The power of small groups, organizations, studies, political movements, from the grassroots level that can create change in the way that we drive our economy and live our lives. Work together, make things better, and maintain that positive outlook in the process. When Linda and I were in Vegas, I am watching the clock. When we were in Vegas, we met Big Steve Parrish, who was one of the roadies for Grateful Dead back in the 1970s. And he has a radio show now on Grateful Dead radio on Sirius Radio Network. And he tells a lot of stories about what he remembers from those days and the tours. And he talked about the community that they formed in those days with the children and the band members and the audiences. And he said part of what they developed was everyone helping each other out on the road, whatever came up. It was like this buying in and assistance and community. And the joy as they did it. No matter how difficult the problems might be, the big message that they had that came out of that experience was doing it together, working together, and doing it with joy. And always having the children and the next generation in mind. So, in Vegas, they had a special exhibit set up, Dead Forever. And as you can see people attending the concert, it was like every generation, from the original, aging hippies in their 70s at this point. And there are no gaps going from generation as you work your way down, as somewhere along the line, fans would discover the music, meet the community, and buy into and become part of that. And I overheard so many conversations at the exhibit as we were looking at photographs and hearing stories and talking about how did each person find their connection or become part of that experience. And so many of these were young people, their first time, coming to a concert, hearing about it. But it was to see each generation and the connection, and each person had a story of why they were there, or what caught their interest. And the buy-in, helping each other out, living together, going to the concerts together, the experience together, and doing it with joy. Joseph Campbell, one of his quotes that we use here in Candles of Joys and Concern, when you look at this tension between pessimism and optimism, joy and sorrow. The line, joyful participation in the sorrows of the world, is a theme that keeps coming up and is applicable to situations, and I believe is applicable to the climate change issue that we've been looking at this year. Joyful participation in the challenges and sorrows of the world. Someone once asked spiritual teacher Thich Nhat Hanh, "Aren't you worried about the state of the world?" And he replied, "There is serious, tremendous suffering all over the world, but knowing this need not paralyze us. Worrying does not accomplish anything. Even if you worry 20 times more, it will not change the situation of the world. In fact, your anxiety will only make things worse. Even though things are not as we would like, we can still be content knowing we are trying our best and will continue to do so. If we don't know how to breathe, smile, and live every moment of our life deeply, we will never be able to help anyone." Always do your best. Apply a positive quality of hope to all aspects of the problem or concern, and maintain a positive attitude no matter what you are doing. Hope is one of the things that brings balance to our life equation. There are plenty of negatives in our life, and there's no shortage or avoiding that. But there also needs to be just as much, if not more, positives in our life. We need to find a way to balance the equation. If we are hopeless or clinically depressed, we are out of balance. Hope is one of the key positive qualities that restores our life in balance. And what's encouraging is these hopeful things don't need to be large or oversized. If you have enough small hopeful things, they add up amazingly quick and you start to build positive momentum. Like Yo-Yo Ma's comment on learning Bach, it's actually not painful to learn something if you do it incrementally. It's like yesterday, yet slightly different. Embedded in the way I play is actually, in many ways, everything I've experienced. So what I see moving forward is collecting the ideas from this past year, building upon those, watching the headlines, adapting with positive models, solutions as we move forward. In closing, I want to share a quote by Gloria Walton that came out of our Never Too Late, Not Too Late book. And she says, the old way of thinking that environmentalism is separate from achieving equity and justice is long gone. People are seeing that the solutions to our problems come from within our communities and ourselves. The most effective solutions connect the dots between our day-to-day lives and the environment. Community leadership isn't about having it all figured out. It's about the creative spirit. It's about the dream. It's about the solutions created together in collaboration. Not a single sector can solve climate change alone, whether governments, media, civil society, or industry. We need to center the values of community, care, and collaboration. This moment requires us to look for leadership in each other and within ourselves. It requires tenacity to have a vision for a world we cannot materially see just yet. It takes courage to challenge old ways and build a better future. And it requires love, the source of transformational power. Love for ourselves, people, and the places that we call home. So I know that's a quick wrap. A couple minutes before 11. I do want to give a little time for any comments or questions from the group as we've gone through this for the entire year. The wrap up being today. So we'll take just a few minutes before we extinguish the chalice.
Are you still having the committee?
So one thing we started this year, part of this study was in Presque Isle and Holton, was the Acoustic Climate Group chapter in both locations. So that did happen. We started meeting in January, and I think it's small efforts trying to put together a database of names. We're meeting in the Cup Cafe on the first Wednesday of each month, and in Presque Isle, the first Monday of each month. So it's still at very early stages, very much like this summary study has been. We want to have something in place to continue the conversation, to share ideas. It's educational, trying to develop, to reach into, to have sponsored material, lectures. Mark Horvath has been very generous. He did a little science at Market Square yesterday. The climate group had a small table set up. He did some coffee. And the group is, at this point, it's like a support group or having conversations around our concerns and what can we do in the world and trying to build a vision for what that might look like. That's kind of where we're at. It's exciting. This summer, we took the summer off in Presque Isle and Holton. So we'll be meeting again first Wednesday in September. And that's like a monthly meeting. So you'll hear more about it here. We're hoping our social action committee group here might also plug into that.
You mean you go?
Dale?
I don't know if it's back over the other book that lists 100 things that individuals can do, and maybe we could, let that, I don't know how many people bought the book, but maybe we could just put some of those out sometimes, because some of them are very practical that you can do on your own, and like Jane Goodall says, she believes every little thing you do adds up to making things better, even if you don't think it does. So we're talking about that. Also, board, whatever,
Great idea.
getting that information.
Yeah, a lot of these actions are, or they appear to be small, they appear to be insignificant, but I don't think they are. There's this cumulative effect, or it's a beginning of movement, just to see where that goes. So there really is no wasted efforts, or even all these conversations are part of this incremental building of a movement. And more people are talking about these issues and looking at what might the solutions be. Closing words are by Bono from U2 at their first performance of the Sphere in Las Vegas. And looking at the fans and the technicians and the engineers that created this concert venue and the experience, he said, "We are all the better for being together." And again, our time spent this morning together, each moment is valued, especially on this July 4th weekend, Midnight Madness coming celebrations. It is truly good to have been here today. It's great to thank Laura joining us and everyone else here as well.
We want to thank everybody for tuning in today. If you'd like to show your support, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel if you're not already subscribed, and help us out by sharing this message by clicking the share button. If you'd like to make a monetary donation to you, Church Holton, there is a link to our online donations in the video description down below. And again, thank you so much and have a blessed day.